broken chains. At best, just depressing. At worst, actually really painful as your knee catastrophically collides with your handlebars. But fortunately, they're actually pretty easy to fix out on the trail. All you got to have is a chain tool, and here's how to use it. Has anyone got a chain tool I could borrow? Now, in all seriousness, you should always have a chain tool with you on any ride where you're further than walking distance away from your car or your house. So this is just part of a multi-tool, and it'll do the job just nicely. Now, hopefully where your chain is broken, it's just one link that's affected, but you might find that actually if the chain is twisted at all, then there'll be several links that are bent. In whichever case it is, you're going to have to remove the damaged links entirely, in which case we need to take our chain tool and then split the chain just behind the affected links. Now, before we do that, it's worth mentioning that you have to make sure that the two ends of the chain are different. So you've got one narrow bit and one wide bit so that it'll actually join together. Unless you're using a powerlink, but more of that later. Now you need to make sure that the pin on the chain tool hits the chain squarely. You want to push the pin until it's almost all the way out, but not quite. And it's absolutely essential that you stop before it comes out, because when we're rejoining the chain, we're going to rely on that little lip there to hold the two ends together. So if it comes all the way out, then there's absolutely nowhere on earth you can rejoin it. Unless, and there is another unless, you've got a Shimano joining pin in your pack. So this is the Shimano joining pin. And what it does is it makes it easier to rejoin the chain because it's got this extra bit that slides into the chain and holds it in place. So just to demonstrate on this spare link, you can just push it in and then the chain's held in place. You then use the chain tool as normal, wind it in and then snap off the extra bit. So Shimano chain should always officially be rejoined using one of these, although you can bodge it, which I've done successfully in the past, although it's a get you home trick and you should probably then replace it when you get back. Now this clever little bit of kit is a powerlink, and what it does, it means you can rejoin your chain without using a chain tool. Unlike the other methods, it relies on two narrow ends of chain, and then the powerlink fits onto itself like that. And then when you place the chain under tension, it locks into place. Back to our original method now, and it's time to rethread our chain onto the bike. A few things to bear in mind here, just to make it easier. Firstly, you want to make sure that your rear derailleur is in the position underneath the smallest cog to give ourselves as much slack as possible. And equally at the front, depending on how you've got your front set up, put it in the smallest chain ring if you got one. Then also you need to bear in mind that that protruding pin isn't going to go through your rear mech, so you want to start threading the other end through, and then also I like to have it so that that protruding bit is sticking outside on the bike, so it makes using the chain tool easier. And then I also like to rejoin it so it's here between the rear mech and the chain rings. Time to rejoin it now. And you'll see that thanks to our technique earlier on, the chain is holding itself in place. And then it's simply a case of winding the chain tool in, pushing the pin home. Now, you need to be careful when it gets almost all the way home, because you'll often find that you get a stiff link where you rejoin it. And some chain tools have got an extra setting inboard there, not generally lightweight trailside ones like this, but they've got an inboard setting that's specifically for getting rid of stiff links. But actually, I think that's pretty good. Okay, so there we go. Almost as good as new. One thing to bear in mind though, depending on how many links you've actually had to take out of the chain, you've affected the length of the chain, and you might find that some gears are now unusable because the chain isn't long enough. So have a check before you get on the bike and ride it, because if you're in your big ring and a long way up cassette, can't use that gear anymore. So So there you go then, really quite straightforward. Simply remove the damaged links on your broken chain and then rejoin it using your preferred method. For more trailside maintenance how-to videos, why not click up there and get through to the playlist? Or just to perfect your trail technique on the bike, then we've got a load of how-to videos. You can watch them down there. And then obviously you need to subscribe to GMBN, so why not do that right now by clicking on me. Is that as clear as mud?